Hold up. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I had to do my resolutions all over again. Welcome back to my channel, and we are going to be kickstarting of this first Enoch. I just wanted to point out and say that we're almost to the end, and the end is going to surprise you because I kind of like, while I was preparing for this lesson, I was looking ahead. I thought, oh my god, this is so freaking awesome. So let's get into it. Enough of me chatting. I don't know if I should put like a hair covering on. I think I shall. I'm gonna put a hair covering on. So this is 83. It says, "And now, my son Methuselah, I will show thee all my visions which I have seen, recounting them before thee." I just want to point out, I don't know, was it Jubilees? Like when I was reading the book of Jubilees, the sons of Cain's line, they didn't really respect Methuselah like they respected Enoch. I just want to point that out. And I don't know if I have it in my comment section right now, but like if you watch the replay, I'll make sure I link like the Jubilee series down below so you can watch that as well. So let's get into it. It says 2 visions I saw before I took a wife, and the one was quite unlike the other. So he had 2 wives. Oh, let's talk about the vision. It says the first when I was learning to write, the second before I took thy mother, when I saw a terrible visions. Regarding them I prayed to the Lord. It says, I laid me down in the house of my grandfather Mahaliel. I can't believe that. Like, that's so disgusting. Okay, I just want to do something. Because I bet 50's like, it says, dropping frame. Okay. Delay 1 second. Well, I guess I gotta change my freaking background, my thumbnail on this one. Wow, I'm pissed. Okay, good. I just want to see what it looks like. Okay, so it says, I laid me down in the house of my grandfather Mahiela, when I saw in the vision how the heavens collapsed. Huh? Okay, the heaven collapsed and was borne off and fell to the earth. Mr. Enoch, I feared that before. Oh my Lord. And when it fell to the earth, I saw how the earth was swallowed up in a great abyss, and mountains were suspended on mountains. When did this happen? and hills, and high trees were rented from their stem and hurled down and sunk in the abyss. This is like one of my fears right here. And thereupon a word fell into my mouth. I lifted up my voice to cry aloud and said, the earth is destroyed. And my grandfather, my Heliel, waked me as I lay near him and said unto, and lay near him and said unto me, why doest thou cry? Okay, this one say, why doest thou cry, so my son, and why doest thou make such a lamentation? And I recounted to him the whole vision which I have seen. Wait a minute. Okay, and he said unto me, a terrible thing hast thou seen, my son, and of grave moment is thy dream vision as to the secrets of all the sin of the earth. It must sink into the abyss. I don't want to be here and be destroyed with a great destruction. Oh my Lord, what happened to the fire? Father, what happened to the fire? What happened to the fire? I fear this. I kid you not. Y'all. There's a scene on not Spy Kids. I was about to say some Spy Kids. There's a scene on Sky High. You get Disney Plus where like the sky, like this high school fell and it was going to collapse on the earth. This is one of my greatest fears, y'all. Are you serious? What is the fire? The New Testament don't prophesy this. What is this? And now, my son, arise and make petition to the Lord of glory, since thou art a believer, that a remnant may remain on the earth, and that he may not destroy the whole earth. You know what? Earth is flat. I might as well just say it. If that's supposed to happen like that. And if it's supposed to happen like that, I think the whole earth is going to be destroyed. What in the hell? I'm confusion. I'm confusion. My son, from heaven all of this will come upon the earth, and upon the earth there will be great destruction. After that I arose and prayed and poured and bestowed and wrote down my prayer for the generations of the world, and I will show everything to thee, my son Methuselah. And when I have gone forth below and seen the heaven, and the sun rising in the east, and the moon setting in the west, and a few stars, and the whole earth, and everything as he has known it in the beginning. And then I bless the Lord of judgment and extol him, because he hath made the sun to go forth from the windows of the east, and he ascended and rose on the face of the heaven, and set out and kept traversing the path shown unto him. 84. We're gonna put this down so y'all can see the words. It says, and I lifted up my hands, and I lifted up my hands. He lifted up his hand in righteousness, and blessed the holy and great one, and spake with the breath of my mouth, and with the tongue of flesh, which God has made for the children of the flesh of men, and they should speak therewith. And he gave them breath and a tongue and a mouth, that they should speak therewith. Blessed be thou, O Lord, King, great and mighty in thy greatness, Lord of the whole creation of the heaven, King of kings, and God of the whole world. And thy power and kingship and greatness abide forever and ever. And throughout all generations, thy dominion and all the heavens are thy throne forever, and the whole earth thy footstool forever and ever. For thou hast made, and thy rulest all things, and nothing is too hard for thee. Wisdom departs not from the place of thy throne. Wisdom departs not from the place of thy throne. Is this wisdom, or is this wisdom like wisdom, or is this his wife? Nor take away from thy presence, and thou knowest and seest and hearest everything. And there is nothing hidden from thee, for thou seest everything. And now the angels of thy heavens are guilty of trespass. And upon the flesh of man abideth thy wrath until the great day of judgment. And now, O God and Lord and great King, I implore and beseech thee to fulfill my prayer, to leave me a posterity on earth, and not destroy all the flesh of man, and make the earth without inhabitations, so that there should be an eternal destruction. So do you think it was supposed to happen that way, but it's not happening? Like, it basically, because of Enoch, it changed from that, which is hell, and now it's not? Let's keep reading. Okay. And now my Lord, destroy from the earth the flesh which have aroused thy wrath, but the flesh of righteousness and uprightness establish as a plant of eternal seed, and hide not thy face from the prayer of thy servant, O Lord. 85. Let's check and see how much time we're on. 13 minutes. We're at 85 right now. And after this I saw another dream, and I will show the whole dream to thee, my son. And Enoch lifted up his voice and spake to his son Methuselah, and to thee, my son, which I have speak, hear my words, incline thy ears to the dream vision of thy father. Before I took thy mother Edna, I saw it in a vision on my bed, and behold, a bull came forth from the earth. Who is this bull? And it says, and that bull was white. What? And after it came forth a heifer, meaning a cow. A heifer, ain't a heifer like a female cow? Along with this latter came forth two bulls. One of them was black and the other red. And that black bull gorged the red one and pursued him over the earth. And thereupon I could no longer see that red bull. But that black bull grew, and that heifer went with him, and I saw that many oxen proceed from him, which resemble and follow him. Pause. It says, and that cow, that first one, went from the presence of that firstborn in order to seek the real one, but found him not, and lamented with a great lamentation over him, and saw him. Let's keep reading because I got some thoughts. And I looked till that first bull came to her and quieted her, and from that time onward she cried no more. And after that she bore another white bull, and after him she bore many bulls and black cows. Okay. And I saw in my sleep that white bull likewise grew and become a great white bull, and from him proceed many white bulls, and they resemble him, and they began to beget many white bulls, which resembled them, one following the other, even many. This is not them. Right. What you call this? 86? Right. And again I saw, which my eyes as I slept, and I saw the heaven above, and behold, a star fell from heaven, and it arose and pastured among those oxen, and after that I saw the large and black oxen, and and behold, they all changed their stalls and pastures and cattle, and began to live with each other. Again I saw in the vision, and I looked towards the heaven. Behold, I saw many stars descend and cast themselves down from heaven to that first star. And they became bulls among those cattle, and pastured them amongst them. And I looked at them and saw, and behold, they all let out their private members like horses, and began to cover the cows of the oxen, and they all became pregnant, and bare elephants, camels, and asses, and all the oxen feared them, were affrighted at them, began to bite with their teeth, and to devour, and to gorge with their horns. And they began to moreover to devour those oxen, and behold, all the children of the earth began to tremble and quake before them, and to flee from them. Okay. I thought I was talking about, I know, right? And again I saw how they began to gorge each other, and to devour each other, and the earth began to cry aloud. And I raised my eyes again to heaven, and I saw in the vision, and behold, there came forth from heaven beings who were like white men, and 4 went forth from that place, and 3 with them, and those 3 that had last come forth grasped me by my hand, and took me up away from the generations of the earth, and raised me up to a lofty place, and showed me a tower raised high above the earth, and all the hills were lowered. And one said unto me, Remain here till thou seest everything that befalls those elephant, camels, and asses, and the stars, and the oxen, and all of them. Now look at this, the punishment of the fallen angel by the archangel. And I saw one of those 4 who have come forth first, and he seized that first star which had fallen from heaven, and bound it hand and foot, and cast it into an abyss. Now that abyss were narrow and deep, and horrible and dark. And one of them drew a sword, and gave it to those elephants and camels and asses, and then they began to smite each other, and the whole earth quaked because of them. That sounds like Revelations. And as I was beholding in the vision, lo, one of those 4 who have come who come forth stoned them from heaven, and gathered and took all the great stars, which private parts were like those horses, and bound them all hand and foot, and cast them in an abyss of the earth. And what it says, and one of those four went to that white bull and instructed him in a secret without his being terrified. He was born a boy and became a man, and built for himself a great vessel, and dwelt thereon, and 3 bulls dwelt with him in that vessel. I think this is talking about Noah. It says, in that vessel, and they were covered in. And again, I raised my eyes towards heaven, and saw a lofty roof with 7 water terrains thereon, and those terrains flowed with much water into an enclosure. And I saw again, and behold, fountains were opened on the surface of that great enclosure, and that water began to swell and rise upon the surface. And I saw that enclosure till all its surface was covered with water. People have said, did God flood the whole earth, or did he just flood like a particular area? And the water and the darkness and mist increased upon it. And as I looked at the height of that water, and that waters had risen above the height of that enclosure, it was streamed over that enclosure, and it stood upon the earth. Never mind. Right. Oh wait, did you know you like is back? Right. I didn't know that. It says, and all the cattle of that enclosure were gathered together until I saw how they sank and were swallowed up and perished in that water. But that vessel floated on the water. So, yep, this is Noah. While all oxen, elephants, camel, asses sank to the bottom with all the animals, so that I could no longer see them, and they were not able to escape, but perished and sank into the deep depths. And again I saw in the vision till those water terrains were removed from that high roof, and the chasms of the earth was leveled up, and other abyss was open. Okay. It says, then the water began to run down into these, till the earth became vessels. But that vessel settled on the earth, and the darkness retired, and light appeared. It says, but that white bull, which had become a man, came out of that vessel, and 3 bulls with him, and one of those 3 was white like that bull, and one of them was red as blood, and one was black. And that white bull departed for them. So we have a white man, we have a red man, and then we have a black man. I'm just gonna say it. Black, that's Ham. White could be Japheth. Red, what's that? What's his name? Shem. There we go. It says, and they began to bring forth beasts of the field and birds, so that there arose different geners: lions, tigers, wolves, dogs, hyenas, wild boars, foxes, squirrels, pigs, falcons, vultures, kites, eagles, and ravens, and among them was born a white bull. It says, and they began to bite one another, but that white bull which were born among them begat a wild ass, and a white bull with him, and the wild asses multiplied. But that bull which was born from him begat a black wild boar and a white sheep. And the former begat many boars, but that sheep begat 12 sheep. The white bull. The white bull is Shem. Right. Because think about the white bull, like if we go back to the past, the white bull that left them, that was Shem. Now there's 12 sheep right there. That's the 12 tribes of Israel. Right. So red must be Japheth then. Right. Red must be Japheth and the black bull must be Ham. And those 12 sheep have grown. They gave up one of them to the asses, and those asses again gave up that sheep to the wolves. And that sheep grew up among the wolves. And the Lord brought the 11 sheep to live with them and pasture with them among the wolves. And they multiplied and became many flocks of the sheep. And the wolves began to fear them, and they oppressed them until they destroyed their little ones. And they cast their young into the river of which waters, they in Egypt, baby. It says, but those sheep began to cry aloud on account of their little ones, and to complain upon the Lord. It says, a sheep which has been saved from the wolves fled and escaped to the wild asses. And I saw the sheep how they lamented and cried, besought the Lord with all their might, till that Lord of the sheep descended at the voice of the sheep from a lofty abode, and came to them and pastured them. And he called that sheep which have escaped the wolves, and spake with it concerning the wolves. This is Moses, that it should admonish them not to touch the sheep. It says, and the sheep went to the wolves according to the word of the Lord, and another sheep met it and went with it, and the two went and entered into the assembly of the wolves, Moses and Aaron, and spoke with them, admonished them not to touch the sheep from henceforth. But thereupon I saw the wolves how they oppressed the sheep excessively with all their power, and the sheep cried aloud. And the Lord came to the sheep, and they began to smite those wolves, and the wolves began to lament, but the sheep became quiet, forthwith ceased to cry out. I saw the sheep till they departed from among the wolves, but the eyes of the wolves were blinded. And those wolves departed in pursuit of the sheep with all their powers. Y'all catch this? If this not the Israelite, if this not about Egypt and the Israelite, watch this, y'all. It says, and the Lord of the sheep went with them as their leader, and all his sheep followed him, and his face was dazzling and glorious and terrible to behold. Moses, you're terrible to behold. It says, but the wolves began to pursue those sheep till they reached the sea of water, and the sea was divided, and the water stood on this side and on that before their faces. And the Lord led them and placed himself between them and the wolves. Hey, Prince of Egypt! That's my favorite part. I thought that was sweet. What about Prince of Egypt, y'all? It says, as those wolves did not yet see the sheep, they proceeded into the midst of that sea, And the wolves followed the sheep, and those wolves ran after them into that sea. And when they saw the Lord of the sheep, they turned to flee before his face. But the sea gathered itself together and became as it has been created. And the water swelled and it says rose till it covered those wolves. And I saw till all the wolves who pursued the sheep and perished, and they was drowned. Y'all see this part right here. But the sheep escaped from that water and went forth into the wilderness where there was no water and no grass. Whew. And they began to open. Whoa, hold on. I'm sorry, that me got to wait. Oh, okay. Look at this. This is open. It said, oh, wait. Hold up. Can I do this? Oh, that's out. My bad. Okay. It says, I don't know, where was the word I was in? I think I should just do that, like, I can't really see. Like, I can see, but I want it big. Just gonna go that little. Okay. I don't know where I was. Okay. And they began to open their eyes and to see. And I saw the Lord of the sheep pasturing them and giving them water and grass. And that sheep going and leading them. And that sheep ascended to the summit of that lofty rock, Mount Sinai. And it says, and the Lord of the sheep sent it to them. And after that I saw the Lord of the sheep who stood before them. And his appearance was great and terrible and majestic. And that all those sheep saw him were afraid before his face. And they all feared and trembled because of him. And they cried to that sheep with them, which was amongst them, we are not able to stand before our Lord or to behold him. This is literally in Exodus, y'all. And that sheep which led them again ascended to the summit of that rock. But the sheep began to be blinded to wander from the way which he had shown them. But that sheep walked not therefore thereof, and the sheep of the Lord, and the Lord of the sheep was wrathful exceedingly against them. It says, and that sheep discovered it and went down from the summit of the mountain, came to the sheep, and found the greatest part of them blinded and fallen away. Fallen away. Oh, I have it. I don't know. But I have the book right here. What are you doing? I have no idea. Okay, I've been 30. Right, me too. 33. What chapter? We in 89. Yeah, we in 89. 89 was always that big. 89. First Enoch. 89 and 33. Falling away. Constant, right. Falling away. It says that when they saw it, they feared and trembled at its presence and desired to return to their fold. And that sheep took other sheep with it and came to those sheep which had fallen away and began to slay them. Exodus, y'all. And it says, and the sheep feared its presence, and thus that sheep brought back those sheep that had fallen away, and they returned to their folds. 36. And I saw in this vision till that sheep became a man and built a house for the Lord, the sheep, and placed all the sheep in that house. We can say this is the tabernacle. And I saw till this sheep which had met that sheep which has led them fallen asleep died. And I saw till all the great sheep perished, and their little ones arose in their place, and they began to pass it and approach a stream of water. Joseph? And then that sheep, their leader, which had become a man, withdrew from them and fell asleep, died too. And all the sheep saw it and cried over it with great crying. And I saw till they left off crying for that sheep and crossed that stream of water. It says, there arose 2 sheep as leader in place of those which had led them and fallen asleep. And I saw till the sheep came to a goodly place. Now they coming to Israel right now. In a pleasant and glorious land. And I saw till those sheep which satisfied, and that house stood amongst them in the pleasant land. It says, and sometimes their eyes was open, and sometimes blinded, till another sheep arose and led them and brought them all back, and their eyes was open. What the fuck was this? And the dogs and the foxes and the wild boars began to devour those sheep till the Lord of the sheep rose up another sheep, or ran from their midst, which led them. This could be King Saul. No, but it did say judges. It says, ouch. Wait. I'm taking this off of hot. It says, ran from their midst, which led them. And that ram began to butt on each side those dogs, foxes, and wild boars till he had destroyed them all. This could be Samson. Right. And that sheep whose eyes was open saw that ram which was among the sheep till it forsook its glory, Samson, and began to butt those sheep and trampled thereon and behaved itself unseemly. We don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. And the Lord of the sheep sent the lamb to another lamb and raised it to being a ram and leader of the sheep instead of that ram which had forsook his glory. Saul, I think this is Saul. And it went to it and spake to it alone and raised it to being a ram and made it the prince and leader of the sheep. But doing all these things, those dogs oppressed the sheep, and the first ram pursued the second ram, and that second ram arose and fled before it. This sounds like David and Saul. Right. It says, and I saw till those dogs pulled down the first ram. Hey, do you think the dogs are the Philistines? And that second ram arose and led the little sheep. And those sheep grew and multiplied. But all the dogs, foxes, and wild boars feared and fled before it. And that ram butted and killed the wild beasts. And those wild beasts had no longer any power among the sheep, and robbed them no more aught. And that ram begat many sheep, and fell asleep, died. And a little sheep became a ram in his stead. This is Solomon, and became a prince and of those leaders. What we see? Hold on, I want to skip ahead. And that house became great and broad, and it was built for those sheep, and a tower, lofty and great, was built on the house for the Lord of the sheep. And that house was low, but the tower was elevated and lofty, and the Lord of the sheep stood on that tower, and they offered a full table before him. Okay, what else we have? It says, and again I saw those sheep that they again erred and went many ways and forsook that their house. And the Lord of the sheep called some from among the sheep and sent them to the sheep, but the sheep began to slay them. What the fuck? And one of them was saved and not was slain. It sped ahead and cried aloud over the sheep, and they sought to slay it. But the Lord of the sheep saved it from the sheep and brought it up to me and caused it to dwell there. I don't know what the fuck they talking about now. But y'all see what it says, the two kingdoms of Israel to the destruction of Jerusalem. I don't know where we at right now. It says, and many other sheep he sent to those sheep, and many other sheep he sent to those sheep to testify unto them and to languish over them. Oh, he's talking about the prophets. Okay. And after that I saw that when they had forsook the house of the Lord and his tower, they fell away entirely, and their eyes were blinded. Eyes blinded. Kind of remind me of Apostle Paul. It says, I saw the Lord of the sheep, how he wrought much slaughter amongst them in their herd, until those sheep invited that slaughter and betrayed his place. It says, betrayed his place. It says, and he gave them over into the hands of the lions, tiger, wolves, and hyenas, into the hands of the foxes, into all the wild beasts. And those wild beasts began to tear in pieces those sheep. So we just going to say the sheep is God's people, the Israelites. It says, I saw that he forsook their house and their tower and gave them all into the hands of the lions, to tear and devour them into the hands of all wild beasts. Lord. It says, wild beasts. And I began to cry aloud with all my power and to appeal to the Lord of the sheep, and to represent to him and in regards to the sheep that they were devoured by all wild beasts, but he remained it unmoved. 42 minutes. Wow. And though he saw it and rejoiced that they were devoured and swallowed and robbed and left them to be devoured in the hand of all the beasts. And he caused 70 sheep. Who in the hell is the 70 shepherds? My bad. 70 shepherds. Who is these shepherds? That not be the prophets. Who are these shepherds? 70 shepherds, and cast those sheep to them, that they might pasture them, and spake to the shepherds in their company, and let each individual of you pasture the sheep henceforth, and everything that I shall command you, that do ye. These might be the prophets, I don't know. And I will deliver them over unto you, duly numbered, tell you which of them are to be destroyed, and them destroy ye. And he gave over unto them those shepherds, and called another and spake unto him, observe and mark everything that the shepherd will do to those sheep, for they will destroy more of them than I have commanded them. Huh? What the hell? Like every excess and the destruction which will be wrought through the shepherds, record namely how many they destroy according to my command, how many according to their own caprice, record against every individual shepherd all the destruction he effect. It says, and read out before me by number how many they destroyed and how many they deliver over for destruction, that I may have this as a testimony against them, and know every deed of the shepherds, that I may comprehend and see what they do, whether or not they abide by my command, which I have commanded them. But they shall not know it. It says, and thou shalt not declare it to them, nor admonish of them, but only record against each individual all the destruction which the shepherds affect each in his time, and lay it all before me. And I saw till those shepherds pastures in their season, and they began to slay and destroy more than they were bidden. And they delivered those sheep into the hands of the lions. And the lions, tigers, eat and devour the greatest part of those sheep. And the wild boars eat along with them, and they burnt that tower and demolished that house. The shepherd. These could be the false prophets right here. And that, the hell? And I began exceedingly sorrowful over that tower, because that house of the sheep was demolished. And afterwards I was unable to see if those sheep entered that house. And the shepherds and their soldiers delivered over those sheep to all the wild beasts to devour them. And each of them received in his in his time a definite number. It was written by the other in the book how many each one of them destroyed them, and each one slew and destroyed many more than was prescribed. And I began to weep. I didn't finish my freaking what you call it, ice cream. I began to weep and lameness on account of those sheep. And thus in the vision I saw one who wrote, how he wrote down every one that was devoured by those shepherds day by day, and carried up and laid down and showed actually the whole book to the Lord of the sheep, even everything that they have done, and all that each one of them have made away with, and all that they have given over to destruction. And the book was read before the Lord of the sheep, and he took the book from his hand and read it and sealed it and laid it down. Oh my God. And forthwith I saw how the shepherds and pastors for the 12 hours, and behold, three of those sheep turned back and came and entered and began to build up all that fallen down on that house. 3. Nehemiah, Ezra, who the third? But it says Alexander the Great too. Right. Who's the third? Judas Maccabees? It says, build up all the fallen down of that house, but the wild boars tried to hinder them, but they were not able. And they began to build as before, and they reversed up that tower. It was named the High Tower, that they began again to the place a table before the tower, but all the bread on it was polluted and not pure. And as touching all this, the eyes of those sheep were blinded, so that they saw not, in the eyes of those shepherds likewise. Oh my Lord, this is long as shit. It says, and they delivered them in large numbers to their shepherds for destruction, and they trampled the sheep with their feet and devoured them. And the Lord of the sheep remained unmoved, till all the sheep was dispersed over the fields and mingled with the beasts. And they, the shepherds, did not save them out of the hands of the beasts. This one who wrote the book carried it up and showed it and read it before the Lord of the sheep, implored him on their account, and besought him on their account, as he showed him all the doings of the shepherd, and gave testimony before him against all the shepherds. And he took the actual book. And laid it down beside him, and departed. Exceed. Is this 90? Here we go. I think 90 was a long one too. Ouch. Okay, I gotta raise up. Yeah, this is 90. Okay, so we're almost done, y'all. And I saw till that in this manner 35 shepherds and overtook the passaging of the sheep, and they severely completed their period as did the first. And others received them into their hands to passage them for their period. And each shepherd in his own period. After that I saw in my vision all the birds of the heavens coming. It says coming, the eagles, the vultures, the kites, the ravens. But the eagles led all the birds, and they began to devour those sheep and pick out their eyes and devour their flesh. And the sheep cried out because their flesh was being devoured by the birds. And as for me, I looked in lameness in my sleep over the shepherd who was passing the sheep. And I saw until those sheep were devoured by dogs, eagles, kites, and they left neither flesh nor skin, nor sinews remaining on them, till only their bones stood there, and their bones too fell to the earth, and the sheep became few. Oh, now we're in the Maccabees period. You see down here. It says, I saw until that 23 had overtook the passion and completed in their several periods 58 times. Behold, lambs were born by those white sheep. And they began to open their eyes and to see, to cry to the sheep. Yea, they cried to them, but they did not hearken to what they said to them. But they were exceedingly deaf, and their eyes were very exceedingly blinded. And I saw the vision how the raven flew upon those lambs and took one of those lambs and dashed the sheep in pieces and devoured them. I saw till horns grew upon those lambs, and the ravens cast down their horns, and I saw till there sprouted a great horn of one of those sheep, and their eyes was open. Is this Judas Maccabees? It says that it looked at them, and their eyes were open. It cried to the sheep, and the ram saw it, and all ran to it. And notwithstanding all of this, those eagles and vultures, ravens and kites, still kept tearing the sheep and swooping down upon them and devouring them till the sheep remained silent. But the ram lamented and cried out. But those ravens fought and battled it and sought to lay low its horn, but they had no power over it. This is definitely Judas Maccabees. I know Judas Maccabees when I hear it. Okay, so that's gonna be wide. So I'm going to go up like that. I'm gonna go up like that, and I might do it some more. It's gonna be small, but it's okay. It says, I saw till the, where's 15? I don't see 15, I see 16. It said, hold on. Okay, we had 13. I'm gonna get my book, y'all. This is 90. Okay, so I saw the shepherds coming, and those vulturing kites cried aloud to the ravens, so that they should smash the horn of that ram. But he battled them, and they fought each other, and he cried out while battling them, so that God's help should come. I kept seeing till that man who wrote down the names of the shepherds elevated them before the Lord of the sheep came. It is he who helped him, and revealed to him everything. Thus help came down from that ram. And I kept seeing till the Lord of the sheep came upon them in wrath, and all who saw him fled and fell all into darkness from before his face. All the eagles, vultures, all the eagles, vultures, ravens, and kites gathered with all the sheep of the field, lining up with them, and having thus come together in unity. All of them cooperated in order to smash the horn of the ram. I saw that man who was writing the book by the command of the Lord, but he hath opened that book of destruction, which those 12 last shepherds caused. And he revealed before the Lord. Okay, wait. Yes, we don't see 17. What in the hell? He has revealed before the Lord of the sheep that they have much greater destruction than their predecessors. Okay, I got predecessors. Okay, so yeah, this is 17. I don't like how organized this is. There, it says predecessors before the Lord of the sheep. I kept seeing till the Lord of the sheep came unto them and took in his hand the rod of his wrath, and smote the earth, and all the beasts and all the birds of the heaven fell down from the midst of those sheep, and were swallowed up in the earth, and it was covered unto them. Okay, that was 18/19. Oh, the 19 appeared. And I saw till a great sword was given to the sheep, and the sheep proceeded against all the beasts of the field to slay them, and all the beasts and all the birds of the heaven fell before their faces. Verse 20, is 20 back up, or is 20 down? 20 is down. Good job. Okay, we can close this now. And I saw till the throne was extracted in the pleasant land, and the Lord of the sheep sat himself upon thereon, and the others took the sealed books. The sealed books? And opened those books before the Lord of the sheep. And the Lord called those men, the 7 first white ones, and commanded that they should bring before him, beginning with the first star which led the way. All the stars whose private parts were like horses, and they brought them all before him. And I said to that man who wrote before him, being one of those 7 white ones, and said unto him, take those 70 shepherds to whom I delivered the sheep. It says, and whose taking them on their own authority slew more than I have commanded. And behold, they were all bound, and I saw, and they all stood before him. And the judgment was held first over the stars, and they were judged and found guilty, and went to the place of condemnation, and they were cast into the abyss, full of fire and flaming, and full of pillars of fire. And those 70 shepherds were judged and found guilty, and they were cast into that fiery abyss. And I saw at that time how like an abyss was opened in the midst of. Wait, hold on. And I saw at that time how a like abyss was opened in the midst of the earth, full of fire. And they brought those blinded sheep, and they were all judged and found guilty and cast into this fiery abyss, and they burned. And now this abyss was to the right of that house. If this is the valley of Jehoshaphat, well, not the valley of Jehoshaphat, but is that same valley? And I saw those sheep burning and their bones burning. Uh-oh. Now we're talking about the Messiah. Anyway, and I stood up to see till they folded up that old house and carried off all the pillars and all the beams, the ornaments of the house were at the same time folded up with it, and they carried it off and laid it in a place in the south of the land. And I saw till the Lord of the sheep brought a new house, greater, a loftier than that first, and set it up in the place of the first, which bare folded up, all its pillars were new, and its ornaments was new and larger than those of the first. I heard that the glory of the second temple was so beautiful than the first. That's exactly what I heard. It says the old one which he has taken away, and all the sheep were within it. Okay, and I saw all the sheep which had been left, and all the beasts on the earth, and all the birds of the heavens, falling down, doing homage to those sheep, and making petition, and obeying them in everything. And thereafter those three who were clothed in white, and had seized me by my hand, who 3 men in white, or was it 4? 3 in white? Who has taken me up before, and the hand of that ram also the hand of that ram also sieging a hold of me. They took me up and set me down in the midst of those sheep before the judgment took place. And those sheep were all white, and their wool was abundant and clean. All that has been destroyed and dispersed, and all the beasts of the field, and all the birds of the heavens assembled in that house. This sounds like Matthew 25. And it says, and the Lord of the sheep rejoiced with great joy, because they were all good, and they had returned to his house. I saw till they laid down that sword, which has been given to the sheep, and they brought it back into the house. And it was sealed before the presence of the Lord, and all the sheep were invited into that house, but it held them not. And the eyes of them all were open. They all saw the good, was that, and there was not one among them that did not see. And I saw that house was large and broad and very full. Okay? What's up? And I saw that a white bull was born, with large horns, and all the beasts of the field and all the birds of the air feared him, and made petition to him all the time. And I saw till all the generations was transformed, and they became white bulls. And the first among them became a lamb, and that lamb became a great animal. A lamb became a great animal. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Let's go to Matthew. Yeah, I'm going to my phone first, just to see if I'm right. Nope. Nope. I knew it wasn't true. Nope, it wasn't. Okay, this is a great animal. It says, and had great black horns. great black horns on his head, and the Lord of the sheep rejoiced over it and over all the oxen. And I slept in their midst, and I awoke and saw everything. 40. And this is the vision which I saw while I slept, and I awoke and blessed the Lord of righteousness and gave him glory. And then I wept, and with a great weeping in my tears, staying not till I could no longer endure. When I saw, they flowed on account of what I have seen, for everything shall come and be fulfilled, and all the deeds of men in their order were shown to me on that night. I remembered the first dream, and because of it I wept, and it was trouble, because I have seen that vision. 91. I'm about to say 92. So this is gonna be the last chapter of y'all about torn. Don't pay attention to that book. Don't pay attention to that. That's not the start of the book. The book written by Enoch. Enoch indeed wrote this complete doctrine of wisdom, which is praise of all men and a judge of all the earth. A judge of all the earth. A judge. A judge of all the earth for all my children who shall dwell on the earth, and for the future generation who shall observe rightness and peace. Let not your spirits be troubled on account of the time. For the Holy and Great One has appointed days for all things, and the righteous one shall arise from